Welcome to Build. I'm Laura Haywood, and today I'm joined by an honest-to-goodness Disney princess. Patti Murin plays Princess Anna, the quirky and sincere younger sister in the Tony-nominated Frozen on Broadway, and she's absolutely perfect in the role. Patti is a Broadway vet, previously seen in Xanadu and Lysistrata Jones, as well as on screen in Chicago Med and Royal Pains, and she is also an unapologetic, passionate, and an outspoken advocate for the people and causes she believes in. Patti Murin is everything I want a role model to be on stage and off. I'm so excited that she's here. Let's take a look at her in action in Frozen.
Hi, I'm Kristen Anderson Lopez. Together with my husband, Bobby, we wrote True Love as the emotional climax of Anna's journey in Frozen. Here to perform are Bobby Lopez and Patti Murin. This is my favorite song we wrote for the new Broadway score, and we really hope you like it.
I've sat alone in this room before, hours and hours on end. I know this delusional wish the door would open to reveal a friend. I know this solitude, I know this kind of cold, but I had faith in what the stories told of true love. How I'd find true love. And here I am in this room again, just as lost and small. That lonely girl with a desperate heart is who I am, after all. There's no escaping her, but now the dream is gone, because I spent a lifetime counting on true love, true love. I was looking for a fairy tale and dove head first into his. Turns out you can't find love if you don't know what it is. And now it's clear I'll never leave this room. It ends as it began, with no one but myself to blame. I played my part in the plan. Dreaming got me here, and yet the dream won't die. I can't wish it away, no matter how I try. True love, true love, true
Oh, Patti! It's so pretty.
Thanks.
Where was that filmed?
That was Gotham Hall, actually.
It is gorgeous.
Yes, and they did the other music video earlier that day, Monster, which Casey Levy sang, and they literally turned the entire place over in like 2 hours and made it a completely different space. It was absolutely phenomenal.
So you're playing Princess Anna in Frozen, and I'd love to start with this new music, because people think they've seen the movie had songs, so they must know all of the songs in this musical. That's not true.
No, it's not. They wrote 12 new songs, I believe, for the musical. It's to the point now where I have to sort of remember, I'm like, oh, right, that was in the movie, because they did it. It all fits so well. It's so coherent. Some of it came from themes that they had played with that didn't make it to the movie. Some, is just completely new.
new. And it's all been rewritten, reworked. A lot of it is very different than it was when we did our out-of-town tryout in Denver. But generally, it really sort of deepens the story and gives you a little bit more time with each of these characters, and to sort of like, just spend a little more time in their brains or on their adventures, which I think it services the story very, very well.
The sisters are both so relatable and so human. And I think that that's not something, like I didn't remember coming away from the film, as much as I loved it, being like, oh, they're so human. It's hard to do that when they're cartoons.
Right.
But you guys I felt like I wanted to jump into that castle and hang out with you. And, man, especially Anna.
Yeah.
She's such a relatable character.
Yeah.
And so I said in my intro, like, I feel like you're perfect in that role. And
Thank you. Thanks. I have to say it's a natural fit.
tell me more.
Looking at the young Annas that, play the role in the show, on stage and off stage, I'm like, no, yeah, that's definitely who I was as a kid. A tornado with pigtails.
Yeah.
Just always like running around and dancing and like doing cartwheels and teaching myself gymnastics and making up water ballets in the pool, and sort of like before you get to the age where society teaches you that you're supposed to care what people think. I didn't care what people thought. It was all about playing pretend and running around and, imagination and playing cops and robbers. And we used to play Revolutionary War because, yeah, I'm a nerd, on our front lawn with like our neighbors. And so that bit of my childhood, it spoke so much to me about Anna. But the thing is that she did it all, but she did it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is impressive.
I know. Do you spend a lot of time with the little girls who play young Anna?
I try to. We don't spend any time together on stage,
Right.
other than a brief moment when they're not even playing young Anna. But I try when my dressing room is right by the stage door, and so I see them when they come in every day. I try to give them all a hug every day. I have my moments with the young Anna off stage a couple different times when we are waiting at the same time together, and I always make sure to give them a hug or high five, and they're just, they're the best. I don't understand how they do it.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're children, but they're like 40.
And meanwhile, you're playing this role who's an adult, but also has such a childlike spirit. And
Yes.
I had the opportunity to go back and watch the show for the second time. The first time it was like it was the spectacle and the songs and like all this stage magic. And I was like, how did they do that? And then the second time I went back knowing I was going to be interviewing you, and I got to watch you and your facial expressions, like there's so much that you exude even when you're not speaking or singing. And so much of what I loved about that is the sparkle in your eye that feels like the eternal optimism that a little girl has, that the character manages to retain even as an adult.
Yeah, it's I say all the time, like the things that this young woman has gone through before the time she turns 18 it's a lot. Her parents die. Her sister doesn't talk to her anymore. She doesn't have any access to humans and outside society. And yet somehow through her love of reading and her imagination, she has it in her mind that it's gonna be great one day, and she's gonna meet her true love.
Yeah.
And kind of taking that like quintessential Disney story of someday my prince will come. And by the end, it turns it on its head, but not after she's made a crazy group of friends, this ragtag group of like a snowman, a mountain man, and a reindeer.
Yeah.
But it's, when she sees Kristoff with his family and is reminded of what family can be, and it doesn't always have to be your blood relations. So it's really cool things that Anna gets to go through that I don't think people think about a lot. Like one of my favorite moments is in the scene before Love is an Open Door, when I'm talking about, how Elsa stopped talking to me, and Hans says, do you want I say, do you want a family? And he says, of course, don't you? And I say, very much. And the line, and there will be nothing but love, and nobody will ever be shut out. It reminds you that this girl has been by herself for 12 years.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking every time. And so that's, it's like those things we tried to sort of like have come across while still doing, a musical comedy adventure, but still having those moments of real poignancy and real, depth of emotion.
I think that it's easy for people to go, oh, a Disney musical, that must be for kids.
Yes.
And certainly there are a lot of kids there, a lot of little girls in princess dresses who are so cute.
Yeah.
But this didn't feel like a children's show to me.
Yeah.
as relatable as it might be to them, it feels very mature.
Yeah, there's, I mean, it's designed darker. It's darker literally like, just in terms of lighting and scenery and whatnot. And also there's themes in it that were in the movie, but that we get to expand on. Like, in True Love, Anna is literally accepting the fact that she's going to die. She's going to freeze to death in this room alone by herself. In the song Monster, Elsa wonders whether the world would be better off without her. It's definitely, it's still something that kids can come to and will love, and I really hope it's something that kids will see as their first Broadway show and want to come back for more and see more shows. But the overwhelming response has been from the adults and the young adults and the people that just really relate to the humanity and to the struggle that these characters are having as flawed women.
How long have you been working on Frozen?
2 years. Not straight, but the first reading was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And we did a workshop in the fall of 2016, then we did a workshop in the spring of 2017, then we did Denver, and now we're here. And yeah, it's crazy. Luckily, I had other things happening at the time, so I wasn't just like sitting around being like, "When's Frozen gonna? Are they gonna want me again? What's happening?"
I know you got to do some TV work with your hubs.
I did. It was great. Yeah, Chicago Med. I played Dr. Nina Shore, which was great because I got to be on the show, and I got to be on the show for an entire season. But we never had scenes together, which people would be like, "Oh, that's so sad." And I'm like, "No, we live together. We're good. Like we're fine."
You
So,
got
like,
to live together.
Yeah, we got to live together.
Which, when you're working actors, doesn't always
happen. But I got to come home and be like, "Oh, so and so," and he'd be like, "I know who that is because I work with them too." So it's such a great family. Chicago Med also just got picked up for their 4th season. Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, that means he'll be going back to Chicago, but that's okay. It's okay.
Look,
We make it work.
having you both working, that's good.
Yes.
That bodes well. Do you have secrets about Anna that we don't know on stage, that we don't find out on stage, but are part of her backstory in your brain?
I mean, I have like little things that I like, the specific stories that she reads. You know what I mean? And it all kind of relates to my childhood of like Snow White and Cinderella. Like when I think about her as a kid and think about her in that library reading books, it's specifically to me, I'm like, oh, that's definitely what she's reading. Like, Someday My Prince Will Come is an actual phrase in her mind that comes from this book, which is kind of meta because it's Disney and you're like, wait, what's happening? What world are we in right now? But other than that, I guess little stuff, nothing that I can think of off the top of my head, but I suppose is, I'm sure as I do the show tonight, I'm going to be like, oh, there's one. There's another one.
You just play her with such depth that I feel like she's so fully formed as a complete, complex human being.
Shockingly, she loves animals.
She does?
Yes. Yeah. Because I also imagine that that's kind of like who she like hung out with. Just like go to the barns and be like, hey, goat. Like,
yeah.
And Sven, as soon as she meets Sven, it's like an instant. And actually Andrew Perazzi, who plays Sven, he was like, from the very beginning, he was like, oh, I just feel like this reindeer, as animals, they have good instincts. And he was like, I just feel like he kind of senses her like good energy. And I was like, yeah, because she's an animal lover and reindeers are better than people. So
can we talk about that reindeer costume?
Yeah.
Like this, it looks like they're a real, it looks like a real Disney animal. He walks on all fours. Does he have like stilts in there? How does
it's a whole stilt situation. It's one guy. It's one guy. We have Andrew does 6 a week and Adam Jepson does the other 2 because it's so much on the body, obviously. Yeah. It's one person basically in a plank position, which is my actual nightmare. Anytime I'm tired, I'm like, oh, wait, Sven, okay.
Yeah.
And it looks so real. Honestly, it's only when I touch him that I'm like, oh, that's not fur. That's like plaster, It was created so beautifully by Michael Curry. It's unreal. I mean, steals the show.
That actor is actually doing little fitness videos with Jelani, who plays Kristoff, as part of his Broadway.com vlog.
Yeah, as he should, because, he's not in bad shape.
Yeah, that's right. None of you are. Well. That is a good-looking cast you've got.
Yeah, we're not bad. They're also very, very, very nice people. So it's like, they're good-looking, but they're also nice. So they're like,
So we
they're
have
not just hot. They're
where do you
awesome.
find? Where does I need to like get in with the Broadway casting directors and find out where all of these beautiful, like, good-looking, kind people come from, and bring more of them into my everyday life.
I think you're doing okay so far.
I'm doing okay. Yeah. I also want to compliment you on your writing because you have a blog of that you have posted on for several years now, and you don't shy away from talking about the things that are important to you in the industry, outside of the industry, whether it's talking about like the heartbreak of Nerds not coming to Broadway, or like what you feel about the latest crop of Bachelorette contestants.
Bachelorette
oh my gosh, I
forever.
cannot wait to talk to you about The Bachelor. I believe that I did tweet at one point that it was one of my life goals to watch The Bachelor with you because it just seems like your feedback about that show is so entertaining.
It's one of my. I was just trying to figure out what day I'm going to see Boys in the Band, which my friend Andrew Reynolds is in, and I was like, May 28th is a Monday. No, wait, Bachelorette premiere. Sorry about it, can't do it. So I do plan my life around The Bachelor.
Well, wait, if your day off is Monday and The Bachelor is on Monday, then will you never be able to see any other shows on Broadway?
No, never. Not at
Because
least.
you won't DVR it.
No. Watching it back after, it's the live aspect of it. It's the I have like a group of like Twitter women that we just tweet to. It's the weirdest thing. I haven't met the majority of them, but I'm like, this is what we do.
Do you know that I watched the first couple seasons of The Bachelor and then I stopped watching it and then I started again because of your tweets?
I've heard that from multiple people, and you're welcome. You're welcome.
And it feels very synergistic because it's ABC and Disney.
And Monday.
And I know.
My day off.
But this wasn't planned, right? It's just coincidence?
Yep, completely. Yep. I started Casey watching it too. She watched it once while we were apart, and then we watched it and we were texting, and all of a sudden she was like, what is happening here? What is wrong with him? Why would he pick her? And I was like, yeah, this is how it starts. And now she's like, oh, okay, when is it? When is the beginning? The 28th? Okay, great. And I'm like, yep, you're done, girl. You're done.
I know we joked-ish about this on social, but I do think we should do like a Watch The Bachelor with Patti charity event.
I would 1,000% do that.
Yeah.
1,000%. Yes. That would be awesome.
Has there been any talk about a Frozen Bachelor? Sometimes they go on adventures, and I believe they went to Lion King one season.
They did. They went to Lion King. They went to Aladdin. It all depends on if their production schedule brings them to New York City or not.
Who do we need to call?
Well, I have a feeling that they're almost done filming. But here's the thing: the winners and whoever wants to come and see Frozen can see it whenever they want. Yes, from The Bachelor or Bachelorette. Unless you're Ari, then you can't come. Sorry. It's not
So, okay. We know how you feel about that.
It's not a secret.
How do you feel about the new Bachelorette?
I love her so much. And if we had to go through Ari to get to Becca, I'm totally fine with it.
I don't think they're going to be anywhere near each other anytime soon.
Nope. Nope.
So can we talk about Nerds?
Yes, of course.
Because you wrote a piece that had the word "sometimes" in it a lot.
Yes.
And I think the official title of the blog was like sometimes an actress writes a blog after not writing a blog for a long time, but every paragraph starts with the word "sometimes." And you talk about how sometimes you like basically the worst thing that you can imagine turns into the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yep.
And that's one of my favorite concepts in the world, this idea that in the moment we sometimes can't tell what journey we're being sent on. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, either in the context of Nerds or not, but your ability, that feels like a very Anna concept to me, the ability to remain positive, stay optimistic, and like keep slogging through it.
Yep. It's sort of like that phrase that everybody hates to hear. Everything happens for a reason. And you're like, can you not do that right now? Because I think saying that in the moment is not helpful. But I think looking back when something happens and you're like, what had to not happen to get here? Yeah. I think that's where the lesson is actually learned, as opposed to being like, oh, okay, my Broadway show just got canceled. Everything happens for a reason. It's going to be fine. Because you have to let yourself grieve and go through, whatever it is, whatever the terrible thing that happens, you have to let yourself feel it. You have to let yourself go through the stages of getting over it. And then it's super cool later on when you're like, oh my God, that's so funny. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here right now. So I was supposed to be doing a show out of town when I got the call for Nerds, that it was coming to Broadway. So I backed out of the show out of town, and I started rehearsals for Nerds, and then it got canceled like 3 weeks in. And
Into rehearsal,
yeah.
Not
We were
even-
literally singing in rehearsal. We were singing the lyric, "Live your dream," and they were like, "Stop." We were like, "Cool." Which again, like, you have to find the humor in these situations because that's hilarious.
Well, it is now. It is now, but it was pretty traumatic, I can imagine, at the time.
It was not great. But then I realized that I was like, okay, I guess I'll go back to Chicago and like be with my husband. And then the audition for the first reading of Frozen came up, and I ended up going in and getting it. But if I had been out of town in San Diego, where I was originally scheduled to be, I would not have been at that audition. And it's not to say that Frozen wouldn't have come about in another way anyway, but like, it didn't. That's how it came about, and that's what's exciting. And like, okay, like, that was really terrible at the time with Nerds, but like, I made a lot of really great friends, and we are like the weirdest bonded family in the world now. Hopefully someday we'll get to do a concert of all of the, the music from it, because it was just so good.
How can I help make that happen?
I don't know. We should talk about it though.
Well, if you think of any way, I'm
just
on
please
board.
don't stop us in the middle of "Live Your
Stop.
Dream." Wait, what?
Oh, that's not what okay, got it. Also, Lysistrata Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought on Broadway. I wish I'd seen the one that was presented like in a gym.
Yeah, it was like right over by here. Yeah, we passed it on the way.
What an underrated show.
I know.
But thank goodness you got that cast album. I know that was
truly. It's one of those that every so often I'll listen to Give It Up, just because I'm like, yeah, like, I just want to like bop along to something. That's another one that we still have a group text that, like, anytime someone has an opening or like a birthday or something happens, we'll send a text, and all of our inside jokes are still valid. So yeah, that was heartbreaking. That was a heartbreaking one when that closed.
There was talk of it becoming a movie.
Yes.
Is that still in the works?
I have no idea.
Oh.
No clue.
I was hoping you were going to be like, big announcement.
I feel like I might be a little bit grown up for it at this point. That HD thing.
I think you look pretty good, Patti.
Thanks.
But those outfits were skimpy.
Yeah.
But I think you look great. There are a lot of videos on YouTube, and they are fun.
Yeah.
So people can go and check that out.
It was great. We had a great time with that.
Also, I think we have to mention your friendship on stage and off with Casey Levy, who plays Elsa, because I love hearing you guys talk about each other and how you really have become each other's support system and family.
Yeah.
You live really nearby each other. When you weren't well, she came over and like made you soup and
yep. It's kind of uncanny, like when I'm sort of like going into a spiral, she's like, it's almost like we're a seesaw in a good way. Whereas like if I'm like kind of like, getting tired and getting like exhausted or whatever, she's on the way up. So, and she is in the position to be able to take care of me. And the other way around, if she's starting to get just like a little bit like overwhelmed by everything, I am on the way up, so I can be like, whatever you need, we got this. Like, it's really, it works like a relationship, like an actual romantic relationship, in the way that we take care of each other and the way that we love each other and just can say anything to each other. And we don't judge, because I say all the time that like there's one other person in the world that knows what it's like to be one of the leads in Frozen on Broadway, and it's her. And no matter, other people who have been leads, of course, in shows and blah, blah, but like this role in this show at this time, we're the only people who truly understand every single second about what we're going through and what's being, asked of us and thrown at us and stuff. And so not everyone has that. Usually it's kind of lonely, but we have like this like just built-in partner that we get to go through everything with, and we genuinely love each other. Like, truly, we're the same kind of weird. Like, we're the same kind of like super dorky. So, we're two very different people, but in a way that we just fit together really well.
Which sounds like the definition of sisterhood.
It's a sisterhood, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. So I feel like I confessed backstage that I have had this friend crush on Patti for like years, and always been like, oh my gosh, I really want to be friends with her. So I feel I don't want to like finish the interview because I just am enjoying sitting here finally having a
We
conversation
can hang
with
out
you.
later.
But let's take a couple questions from the audience.
Great. Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
So you have been inspiring so many people through both your advocacy and through your role in this show. So the question I want to ask you is, who are some of the people who have inspired you along the way?
Ooh, that's a good one. Audra McDonald is numero uno, 1,000% for every reason that you could ever come up with. Career, her honesty about what she's been through, her genuine warmth as a human, her willingness to help someone that she doesn't know very well. And also because she's really freaking talented. And that would be silly if she was left off anyone's list of their idols. So she's one. Also, Kelly O'Hara has been another recent one, actually, that she's been really, really just so generous with her time and her advice and her, about like being the lead in a big show on Broadway where people expect a lot of you and want a lot from you. So I would those are the main two, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else has a question?
Hi.
Hi.
I have tickets to see Frozen next month, and I'm so excited.
Oh my God.
And I just wanted to know, are there any surprising differences between the movie and the stage adaptation?
I don't think surprising, but I feel like if there was something, I probably shouldn't say it because then you wouldn't be surprised. Right?
What I can say from an audience perspective is that the special effects are remarkable.
Yeah.
There are certain things you can't do in any medium other than theater, and the designers on Frozen have taken advantage of that to the nth degree.
And the opposite is also true, that like a lot of the things that you can do with animation, like you can animate people to do whatever you want, be wherever they want. Like Love is an Open Door happened all over the palace, and you're like, we have two people in an empty stage. But we also have Rob Ashford and his brilliant choreography, and so we kind of took what was a really like fast-paced, exciting scene in the movie, in the animated movie, and turned it into something that's truly built for the stage. So it's like, it's kind of neat the way it works both ways.
It's like, see this logo? See how you think you're seeing a snowflake, but there's actually like a woman here. And there are
Faces.
these faces with eyelashes. And I feel like the
face.
set, is that your face? Did they
No.
use your actual
I
silhouette?
like to say it is. Just 'cause
that would be awesome.
Like, guys, that's
but
like
I
my
feel like
face.
the show itself is like that. Like you can watch it and you can see one thing, but like the closer you look, the more layers are
We do have hidden Mickeys on set.
actual hidden Mickeys.
1,000% hidden Mickeys. We have a hidden. I don't think anyone will kill me for saying this, but we have a hidden BB-8. It's from Star Wars. Yeah, it's like a Disney lover's dream.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Have these shown up on the Hidden Mickey's blogs and stuff?
I don't know, actually, because I don't think anyone can get close enough to see them. That's why.
This
Yeah.
is a challenge,
'Cause
you
it's not
guys.
like you're all of a sudden looking at like, like Let It Go and you're like, oh my God, Mickey Mouse. Like it's, but truly, I mean, in all the designs, in all of the hidden folk in their tattoos, it is, I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day, but like, someone's got Sully from Monsters, Inc. on their body.
These are the secrets that we watch. We oh my gosh.
It's so cool because the design it's so specific to each person. Every ball gown Christopher Oram designed specifically for that person. The colors, the cut, it wasn't just like, okay, make one in blue, make one in green, make one whatever. The makeup designer, she's the one that did the hidden folk tattoos. Every one of them is different. Every one of them is specific to the person that has it on, and it's phenomenal. The detail is unbelievable, and it's crazy that you're like, oh my God, no one's ever gonna know that.
but
Like,
that's what Disney is
yeah.
about.
yeah,
I'm such a Disney nerd.
There's a little toy that young Anna has, and I also have when I wake up in the bed, which is one of the characters from Olaf's Frozen Adventure, but in like knit form. And it used to be in Denver. It was actually like a vintage Mickey Mouse, sort of like a just a little Easter egg. Yeah, I know, it's so fun.
cool.
The Disney
Just if
lover
you
in
can
me,
get
I'm like,
permission to like Instagram one of these hidden
I'll
things.
do my best.
Okay.
but I promise nothing.
I understand. We have time for one more question.
Hello.
My question is, apart from Anna, is there any Disney character, whether animated or live action, that you identify with?
Ooh, I mean, well, I feel like this is kind of cheating. I was gonna say Rapunzel. Like, also been alone, reads a lot, does a lot of things. Belle was always my one until Anna came along, that I was like, because she loved to read and she wasn't necessarily accepted, which is so crazy because you look at that town and you're like, you're the most normal person in that town. I grew up loving, like my parents would have to yell at me to not read at the dinner table, and I would like read going up and downstairs. Like I still do. Like I'm the person that gets off the subway and I like stand by a pole to like finish my chapter until I go upstairs. So when she came out and I was like, oh, book lover, and she was also like brunette, and she just had like a lovely spirit about her, and I just loved that. I also loved that she didn't take any crap from the beast. Know what I mean? Like. She tamed him basically, which sort of it sort of goes against the normal quintessential Disney story of like Prince is gonna save me. Like essentially she saved him. So yeah, Belle was my girl. Mm-hmm.
Do you have VIP status for life at all the Disney parks?
I don't know how that works.
I feel like there's some secret ID you get where you're
don't
like.
know.
Put me to the front of all the lines because I'm a Disney princess.
I don't know.
Add that to your
I'll
list
let
of
you
things
know when
to
I
find
find
out.
out.
In the meantime, it's not like you have time to go
that's the other
flitting
thing.
off to
Yes.
Orlando.
Yeah.
You are starring 8 times a week in Disney's Frozen on Broadway, Tony nominated. It's an incredible spectacle, a beautiful show. You sound and look and act like everything I want this Disney princess
Thank
to
you.
be. And I can't say enough good things about you,
Thank you so much.
as Anna and Frozen. Patti Murin, you're amazing.
Thank you all for coming.